The rain had been falling for hours when Daniel Carter stepped out of the tall glass building with rejection still echoing in his ears. In one hand he clutched a worn folder filled with resumes, and in the other he held the tiny backpack of his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. The city lights blurred through the rain as cars rushed past, but Daniel barely noticed them. All he could hear were the words the CEO had said just minutes earlier, words that felt like a door slamming shut on the last hope he had left. But what neither Daniel nor the powerful CEO inside that building knew was that within a few days, everything would change. The woman who had refused to hire him would be searching for him desperately, begging him to return. Before we continue this emotional story, take a moment to support the channel. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us what truly matters, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a little inspiration today, and subscribe to the channel Kindness. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Your support helps these stories reach more hearts around the world. Daniel Carter hadn't planned for his life to look like this. Just 2 years earlier, he had been living a simple but stable life. He worked as a skilled mechanic at a logistics company, and every evening he would come home to his wife and daughter in their small apartment filled with laughter and the smell of home-cooked meals. But life can change in ways no one expects. When Daniel's wife suddenly passed away after a short illness, the world he knew collapsed overnight. Grief did not give him time to breathe. Bills kept arriving, responsibilities grew heavier, and suddenly Daniel found himself raising a child alone while trying to hold on to any job he could find. When the company he worked for downsized, Daniel was among the employees let go. Since then, every day had become a quiet battle between hope and exhaustion. Still, he never allowed Lily to see how scared he was. Every morning he would help her brush her hair into 2 small ponytails, pack her lunch, and walk her to school before spending hours searching for work. Some days he repaired neighbors' cars for small payments. Other days he filled out applications until his hands hurt. But stable work remained just out of reach. When Daniel saw the job posting at one of the city's fastest-growing companies, it felt like a miracle. They were looking for someone to manage operations at their delivery warehouse, someone with mechanical knowledge and logistics experience. Daniel had both. For the first time in months, hope returned. The interview took place in a modern glass office building downtown. Daniel wore his only suit, slightly worn but carefully pressed. Lily had hugged him before he left and whispered, "Good luck, Daddy," as if she knew how important the day was. Inside the office, everything felt intimidating. Shiny floors, quiet hallways, people walking quickly with tablets and phones. When Daniel finally sat across from the CEO, Victoria Langford, he could feel the power she carried without her needing to say a word. Victoria Langford was known throughout the industry as brilliant and ruthless. She had built the company from the ground up and turned it into a multi-million-dollar operation. Her time was valuable, and she made decisions quickly. At first, she reviewed Daniel's resume with mild interest. His experience was solid. His skills were useful. For a moment, it looked like the interview might go well, but then something shifted. When she noticed a note on the application mentioning childcare responsibilities, her expression cooled. She asked a few questions about his availability, his schedule, and whether he could work late nights or weekends without interruption. Daniel answered honestly. He explained that he was a single father but always found ways to manage his responsibilities. He had neighbors who helped occasionally and was willing to work hard. More than anything, he simply needed a chance. Victoria leaned back in her chair and studied him for a long moment before giving a polite but final decision. She told him the company needed someone with complete flexibility and no distractions. Raising a child alone, she explained, could interfere with the demanding schedule of the role. It would be better, she said, to find a candidate without those limitations. Her words were calm and professional, but they landed like stones in Daniel's chest. He thanked her quietly, stood up, and walked out of the building, trying to keep his dignity intact. Outside, the rain had started to fall, matching the heavy silence inside his heart. That evening, Daniel picked Lily up from school with a tired smile. She ran into his arms as she always did, her laughter cutting through the darkness of the day. They stopped by a small grocery store where Daniel carefully counted coins before buying bread, eggs, and a small chocolate bar he secretly slipped into Lily's backpack as a surprise. Later that night, While Lily slept peacefully on the couch beside him, Daniel sat at the kitchen table staring at the stack of unpaid bills. He wondered how long he could keep pretending everything would be okay. Meanwhile, across the city, Victoria Langford was facing a crisis she never expected. Only 2 days after Daniel's interview, the company's largest warehouse experienced a serious mechanical breakdown that halted deliveries across the region. Trucks sat idle, shipments piled up, and frustrated clients demanded answers. The operations manager responsible for the facility had already quit weeks earlier, leaving the team struggling to manage the complex machinery. Engineers had been called in, consultants had been hired, but none of them could identify the problem quickly enough. Every hour of delay was costing the company thousands of dollars and damaging its reputation. As Victoria reviewed emergency reports late that night, one document caught her attention. It was Daniel Carter's resume. She remembered the quiet man from the interview, the one with deep mechanical experience and years of hands-on logistics work. She suddenly realized something she had overlooked in her rush to judge his situation. He might have been exactly the person they needed. The next morning, she ordered her assistant to contact him immediately. But Daniel's phone had been disconnected after he missed a payment. His email bounced back. His address led to an apartment where the landlord explained that Daniel had recently taken temporary work repairing vehicles at a small garage across town. For the first time in years, Victoria Langford felt a strange sense of urgency she couldn't control. She personally drove to the garage. The scene she found there was nothing like her polished office. Oil stains covered the concrete floor, old tools hung from the walls, and in the corner Daniel knelt beside a delivery truck engine, his sleeves rolled up and his hands covered in grease. Next to him sat Lily, coloring quietly in a small notebook. Victoria watched silently for a moment before stepping closer. Daniel looked up in surprise, clearly not expecting to see the powerful CEO standing in the doorway of a neighborhood garage. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Victoria did something no one in her company had ever seen her do before. She apologized. She admitted that she had judged him too quickly and overlooked the value he could bring. She explained the crisis happening at the warehouse and told him the truth. They needed his help. More than that, she wanted him to return and take the position she had refused to offer days earlier. Daniel listened carefully, wiping his hands with a cloth. Life had taught him not to trust sudden opportunities too easily. But when he glanced at Lily, who was now looking up at him with hopeful eyes, he felt something stir inside him again. Hope. He agreed to visit the warehouse that afternoon. What happened next surprised everyone. Within hours, Daniel identified the mechanical issue that multiple engineers had missed. A critical conveyor system had been misaligned after a rushed repair weeks earlier, creating a chain reaction that shut down the entire operation. With calm focus and years of experience, Daniel reorganized the repair team and guided them through the fix. By the end of the day, the machines roared back to life. Deliveries resumed. Clients were relieved. Employees cheered as trucks rolled out of the warehouse again. Victoria stood watching the operation from the control room, realizing something profound. The man she had dismissed because of his circumstances had just saved her company from disaster. The next morning, Daniel officially started as operations manager, but the story didn't end there. Victoria quietly introduced new workplace policies that supported employees with families, something she had never considered before. Flexible schedules and childcare support became part of the company culture, and every afternoon when Daniel finished work, Lily would sometimes visit the office lobby, where employees greeted her like a small celebrity. The building that once rejected her father had become a place where kindness and second chances truly mattered. Before this story ends, we have a small request for you. If this journey touched your heart even a little, please leave a comment with the word kindness. It helps this message reach more people who may need hope today, because sometimes the greatest opportunities come disguised as people we almost overlook, and sometimes the strongest leaders are the ones humble enough to admit when they were wrong. If this story moved you, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe to Kindness. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind the world that compassion still exists. And remember, one act of understanding can change someone's entire life.